Hello, everybody. This is the monthly Sustainable Bethel Commission. I'm Catherine Hebert. I'm the chairman. And the first order of business is pledge of allegiance. If I can talk, that would be great. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag of the United States of America,
republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
just for all.
Thank you. Okay, if Aboli, is that how you say it? Or did I say it Aboli or?
Aboli. It rhymes with ravioli.
Thank you.
Can you do something with that volume? Can you is it too loud? Isn't that
Yeah,
blaring, or is that just me?
Sometimes, yes, it is. Look, it's not 100%. Sometimes
Okay.
it's,
There you go.
yeah. So if you can let us know where you live and just say your full name, that would be great for the recording secretary.
Yeah, so my name's Aboli Pandey. I live in Bethel, kind of on the Danbury border in that like Copper Square complex. You guys might have driven by it or something. And my question was regarding composting in Bethel. So I saw on the HRRA website, I think that they do it for Newtown and Ridgefield and like a few other towns in the area. But I don't see it for Bethel. So I just wanted to know if that's something that's kind of in the works or if there's any plans to do a composting program for Bethel.
So I just want to give you a little lesson on how we run the meetings here in municipal government. So you are allowed to say something. So typically we don't have this back and forth, but if you want to connect with me later, I'm happy to answer any questions related to this. But in the way this is structured, as far as the meetings, we don't have this back and forth during, you're allowed to say whatever you want during this time, during the public comment, but we don't answer. I just want to explain that.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so please connect with me later, okay?
Sure, thank you.
Very easy to get a hold of and easy to find. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. And please stay on if you'd like. It's a public meeting.
Okay.
Gabriella, did you want to say anything?
I guess, sure.
Sure. Okay.
Do I have to stand? I don't know.
If you want to.
So my name is Gabriela Hernandez and also a Bethel resident and very much interested in participating and continuing to volunteer with the Sustainable Bethel Commission. Ultimately, I'm here to support, to gain as much knowledge in terms of sustainable actions and programs that we can be a part of as a town or as individual organizations that are happening. I know there's a lot of things already going on, so it is exciting to be able to participate and hopefully, forge a more sustainable path for Bethel and to do it at a convenience and ease for the residents, not necessarily a burden. So, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
Catherine, yes, may I just have your address, please, for the record?
Sure. 114 Knollwood Drive.
114 Knollwood. Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda, I'd like to introduce Tia Murphy, who is our new commission member, recently appointed. Tia comes with a lot of experience in many different areas, and she also served on the library board in Bethel and other, I believe, committees and authorities. I'm not sure all of them off the top of my head. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself for the record, which would be great.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Tia Murphy. I'm not a lifelong resident of Bethel. I moved here in 2007 to take care of my dad after my husband and my mom died. And I stepped out of a corporate career. My background is in telecommunications, cable industry, wireless technology, internet, computers. That's what I did mostly in the areas of marketing and finance. When I retired, I got involved with doing a lot of volunteer work with AARP in the state of Connecticut, and I've been serving for the last 6 years as the volunteer state president for AARP, working on issues of livability, making towns universities, businesses age-friendly. I've been doing a lot of fraud prevention work and working both on the federal and local levels for helping out with elder abuse issues. Also do a lot of work in housing and caregiving. So that's a lot of what I do. I've also been involved with the garden club, been involved with that for many years. I do sit on the library board in a variety of capacities. Thankfully, at this point, I am no longer an executive with any of those opportunities. I'm stepping out of my AERP presidency at the end of this year, so that frees up a lot of my time. And on the Bethel Library Board, I'm now just a board member, which is great. That frees me up to do a lot of different things and gives me some additional time. I'm interested in this area because it hits on all of the things that I'm interested in, which is economic sustainability, environmental stability, housing, financial aspects of how people live and what they do working, and making where we live sustainable for everybody at all ages and stages of their life so that they can live their best lives possible. And that's basically what I'm looking to do.
So we very much welcome you, Tia, with all your experience, and I'm personally looking forward to including you in our path towards the Sustainable Connecticut certification, because there is a lot to do with the team. So welcome, and thank you for being part of our little group here. Does anybody, Katie, Two Peters, have any comments? You want to like say hi or whatever? Hello? No.
Whoa. Welcome to the club.
Welcome.
Thank you, Peter.
You're certainly
Hey,
qualified,
Katie.
I'll say that.
Hey,
Very,
you're on
very
mute.
impressive background.
Thank you.
There's Katie Choi.
Hey, Miss Katie.
Sorry, hello.
Hi. Okay, great. All right, thank you.
How's the baby? Oh, I can't say that, I'm
No,
sorry.
you can say it too, wait, but
I
you're
wanted
like out of order here.
I know, that's why I pulled it back. Katie, I was just saying, how's the baby, but I forgot that we're in a meeting. So I'm gonna, good.
Okay, so my commissioner reports, it's, I don't have a lot to say this month because I was away for a bit at a conference. So we, like you already heard, we have another board member, which is great, to help us in our mission. I have said this before at several other board meetings, given that we had a little bit of a delay in a rocky road until Dan Carter was elected in special election. I want to get back to basics right now, and what we originally were going to do was to get the certification last year, and then we took a little bit of a left and a right turn, and now we're on the straight path to getting that, and that's what our focus is now. I did want to talk a little bit about websites and communication. That Dan has hired someone to help with the creating a new website for the town. So we will wait for that for our page, because our page is a little outdated, but we're not going to update everything until that is underway. We did participate in the Pride Festival. Gabrielle and I volunteered on that. We had a table. It was very successful engagement. We had almost 30 people sign up. We sent a welcome letter to email to those people who did sign up and spent time with us at the event. And also the first selectman did raise the flag with the group. So that was very successful. We already had talked about Earth Day last month. There is another event on July 15th, which we did participate last year, which is the chamber event, the Shop and Stroll on July 15th. And that was right before the Energy Expo, which we were also part of. But unfortunately, I am not here that weekend. I would like to have people involved in that if that's possible. So if you are interested in participating at the shop and stroll, please let me know. I am a chamber member. Janice from Economic Development is also a board member, and Jesse, who is the president, he works for M&T, he is the president of the chamber. I'm sure we could get a table there if that's something that people are available to participate, but I cannot do it. They are also having another festival, the October Festival in, I believe, well, October, obviously. So that's another event that we can get the word out. That is what I have for now related to what I've been doing this past month. We are still short a couple of positions, and I know Dan is working diligently to get those filled here on the commission. So any questions for me? No? Okay. Okay, so the next thing is consideration of approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Put me down as.
All right, so, is there anything, do you want to say anything about anything? While you're still
Well,
here?
Reluctantly, I'm stepping away. We've gone a year, and I know we've had bumps in the road. Unfortunately, in my life, I've had a few bumps recently, and I just, at this moment, don't feel I can give it like just attention. I'm still very interested in helping in any way I can, participating in events such as maybe the July 15th event. I didn't know about the Pride event. I would have been involved in that.
Thanks, that I feel bad, it's terrible.
Um,
It happened so fast, it was
Yeah.
kind of like we just pulled the whole thing together.
I'm not
but
turning my
thank
back on
you
the
for
commission. I
that.
definitely want to continue to, particularly in events, help out when we have a table and things like that.
Okay.
I think that's perfectly okay. You don't have to be a commissioner, I
No.
assume.
No,
So, but I know that Katie has really worked hard, and frankly, we wouldn't be sitting here if you hadn't been so resolute. It's not like you didn't have setbacks between selectmen and people immediately leaving. You're obviously a tenacious human being.
I
Which
always
is
say
good.
this about municipal government, we
Yeah.
move at a snail's pace.
Yeah. Well, but you-
Sometimes at a glacial pace. So
Yeah.
the patience is things do happen, they absolutely do. And sometimes you have to take a left and a right, but they do happen. So, but thank you, and we'll talk after,
Yeah.
okay? For everything that you have participated in and given to the commission, and we will definitely take you up on any other volunteer
I
opportunities
would not
to
say it if I
engage
wasn't
you.
prepared. So.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, we can make you of counsel.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Peter, I'm qualified.
So Peter Shankman, do you want to comment on anything? Have you been to London and Paris and with all your EVs and everything else? Is there anything?
I have.
Okay.
I could tell you a little closer to home. I'm working on addressing battery fires. There was another fire in the city yesterday morning that killed 2 people. We are also working on greening an industry that no one ever thinks about, which is the food truck industry. Food trucks sit out on our beautiful green, belching smoke out of their generators to keep them running. So we've introduced a program in New York, and it'll roll out across the country, that will create an incentive to get rid of the diesel and the gas generators and put battery packs. The battery packs are about the size of, I don't know, a small computer tower, if anyone remembers what those look like. And it will run food trucks. So it's something that I was going to bring to the commission in the next couple of weeks. I've got funding to convert a gasoline powered food truck. If someone wants to get rid of their generator and go to battery power and be clean when they cook the food.
Well, let's
So
just
that's
talk about that. That's really interesting. And also your work with the EVs and the battery fires, because right now it is the Wild West, and that seems to be something that really needs to be evaluated more closely, because it's happening more and more as more people buy those.
108 fires in New York this year, almost as many in London. We've had 6 or 8 deaths already this year. And our idea, we're working with the city of New York, doesn't really apply as much to Bethel, but I think that the folks in Bethel need at least an education in how to properly charge, because I do see a lot of e-bikes popping up around, and we've just got to make sure that people are charging them properly using the original chargers that came with it, and preventing fires, because we have a lithium fire in Bethel. I'm not entirely sure our department's prepared for it.
So you bring up a really good point, especially related to education. So as Bethel gets more EVs, especially related to the fleet that Bethel may be buying, that may be hybrids or EVs, then I think
Right.
that we can talk about creating some type of education program related to all of that. And
Right. I mean, I would piggyback off of what New York City is doing in London, and it's just literally a palm card that says, own an e-bike. Are you charging it properly? Make sure if you're using your branded charger, don't use frayed cables, UL listing, all of that stuff. And it's just on a quick card that anyone can read. And I think it's important to get it out there, even though we're not overwhelmed with 10,000 e-bikes running around at any given time.
Right,
I'm sorry, 100,000 e-bikes in New York City.
I don't have those here, obviously, but it may, from an educational and public engagement point of view, maybe something that we can partner with the library, just off the top of my head. But yeah, let's definitely talk about that, because
Right.
this is coming, all of this is coming in some fashion, and it makes sense that there would be some type of program related to that. Okay, so we can talk about that after separately.
Yep.
But
And then the other thing that's taking place in California, which is coming to a town near you, is you're not going to be able to use gasoline generators anymore in the next couple of years. Your noisy weed whackers and blowers are all going to have to, they're not getting grandfathered in. So everything's going batteries, and that poses yet again the question about the resilience of the Bethel grid or the regional grid, and whether anyone's actually studied, very simply, Bethel PD buys 5 electric.
no, we lost you. Must be driving in a no service area. Okay, we lost you.
Sure that we're capable of handling this.
Yeah, these are all good topics.
Yep.
So I
So
think, go ahead, sorry.
no, and the other thing that we're seeing is vans are going away. I had a conversation with FedEx, and where you would think big companies would go for bicycle and small vehicle deliveries in city centers, FedEx told me their interest is going into the subdivisions, and just parking a couple of electric mini vehicles, whether they be bikes or L1s or L3s, like golf cart style. And one van comes by every day, drops a load of packages, and throughout the subdivision, the bikes and the small electric vehicles make the deliveries. And I think of the Toll Brothers subdivision on Reservoir, the big one over on Stony Hill. And if you just take a van out of that closed community and we start looking at electric vehicles inside, it just kind of quietly removes carbon emissions where people are not looking to remove them. So that was very interesting to hear that approach.
These are all really good topics, and it ties into our mission overall from an environmental point of view, and also from an environmental justice point of view. So let's talk about this more. But I like the idea of creating some.
Well, the education thing is the easiest thing. I'll kick out a little one pager in the next couple of weeks before the next meeting and just circulate it.
Okay. All right. That's really great.
That's all I got. Going back to London next week.
Okay.
Peter, just a point of information, I read the Times today that 4 people died in that fire.
Oh, sorry, right. I was with the reporter today, showing Winnie Yu. We have a fireproof, climate-controlled outdoor battery kiosk, charging kiosk that's popping up all over Europe. And we put one down on the Wall Street heliport because it's a property that we have access to. And we're going to start doing battery swapping so that the folks don't have to buy batteries anymore. Batteries are $500 to $1,000 a piece. For $1 or $2 a day, you could charge as much as you want, and you never bring the bomb home. It explodes out in the street if it ever does. So.
Okay, great. Thank you for all that. Does anybody have any questions? Tia, do you have anything? No? Katie? Oh. Sorry. Katie, do you have any questions for Peter? Can't hear you.
Whoops.
Oh.
How about better cell service in Bethel?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we
Okay.
do.
Now we hear you. Yep.
Sorry. I just want to say that the fire department was at the Earth Day event, and they had a booth about safety with lithium-ion batteries, and they are training on what happens if there is a fire in town with batteries. So I think a one-pager type thing is great.
I sit on the fire commission. We may not be as informed as we think we are.
So that's why we need more education and more.
Right. Listen, Katie, I'm happy to bring a deputy chief up from the city to talk to our folks. I can bring the battery manufacturers in. I've offered it to the chiefs a couple of times because it's important, and we don't want to lose anyone in town.
And their response?
They've recently done training, external training with lithium-ion batteries at the fire department.
Okay.
So they are very open to it. So I have a connection
I know.
for the training organizer for Bethel. So I can I can get you in contact.
Yeah, we've put off the fire commission meeting for the past 2 months, so I haven't had a chance to meet with the chiefs. But yeah, anything they want, I'm happy to provide anything out of FDNY. I even invited them to a couple of events that Fidney was doing where we were blowing up batteries all day. It's kind of fun.
Let's
It's the firefighters like.
So Peter and Katie, let's definitely continue this conversation because it's a very important conversation, especially, and it also sustainable Connecticut action items related to EV charging and when Bethel gets ready to put together a plan of action related to where those EV chargers are going to go in the town, as well as transitioning from the gas and diesel powered vehicles to whether it be hybrid or electric. But this is a good conversation to have, and it also aligns with our mission. So thank you for that.
Yep.
Katie, did you want to say anything?
Sorry, did you say my name?
I did.
I wasn't sure.
Just asking. Yeah, so we've a little bit about the Sustainable Connecticut certification. We've been working on getting the equity. We've been working on getting the equity. What's it called?
Equity toolkit.
The equity toolkit prepared. We have a draft, and we're meeting with Sustainable Connecticut tomorrow in the afternoon to discuss how we can move forward and attempt for certification this year.
Yes.
That's what I've got.
We're all very ambitious, but but it's good because that means we're going to keep advancing. If it cannot be done this year, because their award ceremony is in November, I believe. But you never know. All of us pulling our talents together, we might be able to do
the
it.
certification application ends,
August.
if I remember correctly, end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah,
It's
a heavy lift.
That could be. So is Katie then our ambassador or our representative?
Right now,
Yes,
as a voting member, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so she's our link to the equity.
For now,
toolkit.
yes, and Gabriella has been
just-
working closely, and I sort of am, moving around with them.
Okay.
Yes, so we've been working very closely with that. I'll add to what you said, Katie, because I know you're trying to multitask with an infant, which is really hard. I was never able to do that. Anyway, as much as I tried, I couldn't. Yes, we've been trying to push this out and ramp it up, the equity toolkit, now that we have an equity coach assigned to us, and we've met with her a few times, and she is also going to be part of the meeting tomorrow with the fellows. So just to also continue to give the background related to how this works with the fellows who are interns with, the two of them go to UConn. So every year, the Sustainable Connecticut assigns interns or fellows to the different towns across Connecticut. Since we are in the Western Connecticut Council of Government under their umbrella, those two are assigned to work in that office, and they are assigned to us, and I believe probably another community as well. And they're there for the summer because they have to go back to school. They go to UConn, and they are there to help us. So we did draft the equity toolkit narrative. And tomorrow we're going to go through it probably piece by piece, as well as go through our roadmap of what we think we can do to get this thing going with all the different data and everything else that's already been completed in the town, because there's a lot that's already been done in the town, and it's a matter of collecting the data and entering it into the application process. So they will be assisting us with making sure we're on that path to do that correctly. So Gabrielle, just on a side note, Gabrielle and I went to the Sustainable Connecticut kickoff. It was an annual kickoff in June. It was June 1st, and it was in Glastonbury. It was very informative. It was very educational. There were a couple of people that got some certifications because they were able to do that really quickly within a few months. But that was their official kickoff, and so that was really great to be there, and we learned a lot. The other is the community match grant, which I've mentioned before. but I know I repeat myself every month, but I do that on purpose. Anyway, the community match grant, the Sustainable Connecticut has a community match grant where they will match up to $15,000 for an organization with funds not related to taxpayer dollars or public dollars. They have to be either a nonprofit or even an individual can come forward and fundraise the other matching component. I've spoken to the Bethel Arts Group, which is chaired by Janice from Economic Development as a nonprofit, and they are putting forth, and I also talked to Dan about it, they're putting forth an application for that, and that is also part of the Sustainable Connecticut certification process. But I wanted to make sure that Bethel was able to get some funds from this. So we're moving forward with that. Let's see, is there anything else I need to mention about that? No, I don't think so. No. Does anybody have any questions about the Sustainable Connecticut certification process?
I do.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
your meeting tomorrow, is that an in-person meeting? Is that,
It's in person and hybrid as well, yes.
so might I be able to just sit in on it? I don't want to,
Yeah,
step on any toes,
Yes,
but just to get informed and up to speed as to what's going on.
absolutely, absolutely.
What time is it?
It's at 3:00. I will send you the link. I just want to make, and I think we're okay for now because we won't have quorum. I just want to make sure that we don't have a quorum at any of our meetings, right? So right now it's really 2 of us that have been sworn in. So yes, I think that would be okay, but I'll send you the link. It is in Sandy Hook in person. The fellows will be there. Mike Tolles, who's the deputy director of WestCog, he might sit in because he supervises them. And then Kamora Harrington, who's the equity coach, will be there as well. But yes, I will send you the information,
Okay,
and then you can hybrid that if you
Yeah,
want.
I would.
Katie's gonna she's gonna sign in as a from a hybrid point of view. And Gabriella will be coming with me as well because she's been doing so much work on that as well.
yeah, I would be able to join after 3:30 because I've got a commitment.
It's probably gonna go on for
Oh, I'm
longer
sure,
than that.
I'm sure
You
of
know,
that.
I really wanna, these are gonna be working meetings, in my opinion.
Well, and it's, so I would like to join, once again, more from and bring me up to speed,
Absolutely.
get me familiar with
Right,
the
because
moving parts to it and how it's all working and everything.
Because
So
you'll
that
be
would great.
helpful in looking at I'm sure, the narrative and
Mhm.
helping draft that as well, although, and I'll send you that as well. We put everything on a Google Drive, is that okay for you?
Mhm.
Okay, good. So let me just write that down.
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you so much.
Send,
And I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, I just
You're not
really want
stealing
to
anyone's
get,
thunder.
I just want to get up to speed and understand how it's all working and where we're at, and that kind of thing, and how that organization works, because I've worked with the people in a couple of different towns on age-friendly work, that these people were also getting involved in the sustainability work here in Connecticut. So, we're hearing things from different places.
You're not stealing anyone's thunder, we are small but mighty.
There you go.
So we need all the help we can get, so that's great, thank you. Yes, and we want everybody's input related to getting this done. It's really important that we do this, since we had that setback last year, but that's okay. Again, the wheels of government, how do we move around here? But yeah, I'll send everything to you. It's at 3:00. You can send it as hybrid, and then we'll get you the narrative, and you already have, well, the roadmap. We made some changes to that, so you can look at that. We started assigning people to the roadmap, which is the next item on the agenda, and I'm just kind of bouncing since we're kind of on topic here. I did include the roadmap in your packets. I always do that. Katie spent some time moving things around and summarizing the items that are subcategories to the action items, the Sustainable Connecticut action items. Most of those have already been completed. So again, it's a matter of collecting the data from the different department heads and different organizations in the town that already have done that work. And everybody is really happy to help, but we need to get that and then enter it into that application. So that's really all I have. Does, do you have anything else? I mean, no? Peter? You sure you don't want to continue helping on, entering debt? No, I'm like.
No, I do want to, I am definitely might be involved,
Yes,
just,
but we'll talk and we'll
Yeah.
figure that out for
we'll
sure.
figure it out.
Yeah.
What is the 15th again? You
It's the
said
shop and
stroll?
stroll. Remember the shop and stroll from
That's
last
where
year?
the businesses
Used to
are
be
all,
like Bethel Blooms.
so
if
people
you
walk
remember.
around in the stores.
It's sidewalk sales.
It's a
Right.
sidewalk, yeah, and
Yeah,
it's stores.
we have that every year.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
changed the name of it
Right.
and it's a different kind of thing, and in the fall it's the soup thing.
Right, it's
Right.
the holiday
The
event.
holiday
Yeah.
event, and it used to be Bethel Blooms, it was a little earlier in the year, and now they moved it back a little bit.
Are they also having the produce thing?
Oh, the farmer's market?
Yes,
Oh, no, yeah, they
Oh,
do it
that's-
every
that's-
Saturday
yeah.
from 9 to 1
yeah,
over at
That's
Route
Stony Hill?
6. Yeah, I go
so
there
they
every
still have
Saturday.
that, okay.
Yeah, and the community, the one, it's not really, they call it they call it a community garden, but it is not a
Well,
community
that's why I
garden.
asked you.
It's
you
not,
see.
it's not a community garden, it's in the community, but it's run by the extension, so it
Yeah.
is not Bethel specific, it is the
That's
state
UConn.
of Connecticut.
It's a Yukon
Yes,
extension.
You
it's
know,
a
I guess
Yukon
you know,
extension.
they've been having disputes and things.
Yes, I
rather
am
big
painfully
ones,
aware.
yes.
So, Peter, one of the goals is to create community gardens related to the food scrap composting and people being able to source their own foods from a food waste point of view. But that's a bigger conversation and a
We
long-term.
had a question on that from a resident, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, on composting.
On
yeah,
composting,
composting.
right.
Yeah, but the composting, I think she was talking about was less, Aboli, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I believe the composting she was talking about was more material as opposed to food scrap alone.
Hmm.
I don't know, I want to talk to Aboli separately, so I would like her to get a hold of me. Right now, we have a food scrap program. We were awarded the $42,000 to do a food scrap.
Really?
Yeah, at the transfer station.
Oh, very good.
So I think they're trying to launch that and implement that very soon. But what I would like to see, and this is more of a long-term plan, is to create a community composting where people could get that compost back, but you would need like community gardens, right?
Well,
And
that's why
you would
I
have
think
to
it's-
have that. So for instance, people who live,
Not necessarily. A lot of towns do it in
Okay.
the yard waste pickups and the leaf pickups, and they use that as their compostable materials.
but if
that
you're in
they
a
store
condo,
for-
I'm just thinking
Yeah.
like.
No, the town does it.
Okay,
Not, it's done in a central location, typically adjacent to transfer stations.
right.
Or whatever.
Well, our
they-
transfer
Yeah, I mean, that would be
station
great if we
collects-
could do that.
Correct,
collects
they do
things,
that.
right?
They collect it, but we pay to have that hauled away. We
So,
don't
is it-
compost it. So there is
Wouldn't
some.
we save money if we composted it and people?
That's a great question, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of moving parts to that, because you have to have a specific location where it is. You
Right,
have to have people to manage it. There's a lot of things around that, but I believe there are programs in the area where they are centralizing some of that. So, you can get that compost and things like people may not realize it, we have the governor's second horse guard in Newtown.
Newtown.
And they compost all of the horse manure.
Oh, they
So-
do?
And that is free. You can go and you can get buckets and buckets of horse manure, which is a wonderful composting material. And
That's used for vegetable garden?
you can use it for
Yeah, you
anything.
can.
Yeah.
But then the next step, if we had community
Yeah,
gardens.
no, I agree.
Right,
Right.
I get what you're
Well, that's
absolutely
why
right
I
about
think
that.
this
Because
is-
people
That would
can
be
use it
circular,
for
right?
people can use it for their own gardening purposes.
I think the library is willing to cooperate in pushing a community garden in terms of.
But we'd have to
community.
find the space for it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily a library program. It's not something the
I
library
mean only in
will
terms
take
of
on.
communication.
Well,
I
Having-
education,
Yes, we need to make sure we make the distinction between
Right,
an operational
Right.
program and a program for people to come.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, okay.
And the library being a central,
Yeah, because we had some
facility.
people who wanted us to actually run the program.
Right,
and
right,
we
I
can't.
understand.
I mean, they would provide education, communication.
I
but
have
yeah.
to think the library is a terrific place. I
It
mean,
is.
it has improved. When I moved up here 30 years ago, 33 years ago, 34 years ago, the library was frankly not a very impressive place.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. What's been done, and I know we have the big fundraiser and so forth, it's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. I happened to run into a librarian at Westcott. And I said, you know about our library? And he said, it's a gem.
It is. It is. And our director that we have now, Megan Dean, is just, we were very, very
Oh my gosh,
fortunate
she's
in being
awesome.
able to get her to come because she's really brought a lot of fresh air. But there are locations, community garden concepts, that's something that UConn really can work with us on.
Yep.
For their extension programs. They have a lot of that. The garden club potentially might be an organization that would that we could look to do that kind of thing. There may be some additional spaces in town.
Well, that would be a great certification project too, right? It would solve,
Well, yeah, if we,
because
when we
you're
go.
also thinking of
Right.
points, right?
Right, so just, we have, looks like enough points to get the bronze with everything that's already
Well, I'm
being
thinking
completed.
beyond
So
the
if we go
bronze.
to silver
Yeah,
and climate and
Right.
gold,
yeah.
yes,
yes.
that would be what we look,
Right.
our roadmap forward,
Right.
but right now, we just wanna get the bronze.
No, of
I
course,
agree
you have
with
to
you,
get the bronze,
but yes.
unless you're in the Olympics, in which case you want the gold first.
You know, or we never sleep for 24 hours for 3 months. But anyway, yes, so that is something that we can definitely get points on, and but also provide such an amazing service and be impactful to the town.
Well, I think you're gonna be a really important addition. And
Thank you.
just listening to you and all the experience you've had. It's nice to see Mary Churchill also.
Thank you.
It is nice, I know.
I said, what is she doing here? I thought she goes home
Donna
at
was
5 o'clock.
sick.
Oh, I'm
Donna
sorry.
was sick. No, Mary does a lot of night meetings.
Yeah, I've heard that.
A lot. Okay, I don't have anything else. One more thing that I just kind of wrote down because I saw it, it kind of popped up on one of my feeds. It is National Pollinator Pathway Week. Didn't know that.
That's
June 19th through June 25th. Kind of interesting,
not
right?
Katie's area?
Katie, did you know that? You did,
Yeah.
see?
Yeah, I
Look.
heard that.
You moved. Yeah, I saw, oh, actually it was on a DOT website and it popped up and it's national. I'm like, wow, didn't know that.
Do we have any projects with the Bethel Land Trust in the works?
No, but they're gonna be a part of the certification project. Yeah, when I had met with them last year, JD and Lou, I gave them those, the action items and the subcategories, and they picked the ones that they already had completed. So yeah, they'll be a part of it. But then going forward, especially as it relates to open space and pollinator pathways, they already do a lot of that. And I've said this before, in my journey, talking to everybody in town and beyond, I found a lot of people do a lot of things. There's a lot going on here, but they're verticals. And there's overlap. So to the extent that we can bring everybody together and communicate that in different ways, and make
Sure.
things better and let people know what's going on, I'm all in on that.
Yeah, because we don't have to do all the lifting. There is a lot of,
There's so much going on.
there's a lot going on, but you're right, there's, we don't always know what the other person is doing. And I see this board, that's part of my inspiration for coming on board, is that we're kind of, we can be
Like a linchpin?
the linchpin, or the, as we used to refer to it in the cable business, the aggregators. So we don't necessarily do the individual programming, but we can bring all of that information together and disseminate that information out and be sort of the repository where people can come and find out more. And we can help facilitate that
Absolutely.
without having to do everything ourselves.
Advocates,
And
elevate.
that's the big thing.
You know, and if commissioners, as they come on and as we move forward in this path, they want to get involved, absolutely. You know, we want that to happen too. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything under other business? Katie, Peter?
I do not.
Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow. Peter? Peter, are you there? Okay, he's in a dead zone. But we'll talk about all of these other components related to EVs. I think that's a really important conversation for us to have and to provide some type of education and information. Okay, so do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
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 Since you're a technical person, have you ever seen one of these?
I had one until
I
I
cannot
finally
believe-
I had
got
one
one of
until-
these.
You know what somebody said to me one
I
day?
cannot believe.
I took it out, they said, welcome to the 90s.